where there's a woman singing in the living room.
Yes.
That's happened.
I think she's my protectress.
We witnessed that too.
I think she's my protectress. Anytime there's been a problem with a tenant, it's happened a couple of times, I'm followed around the house by a gold orb that's clearly on the move. And we hear her, she's not there every night. She sings around dusk. She sounds like she's rocking an infant to sleep. So I have a feeling she was a house slave and probably in charge of the children. And we've now named her Goldie. And she's very comforting. I think she's protecting me. And just recently I was out of town and my tenant in the carriage house moved into my house so my dog didn't have to go to be boarded. And the second night she was there, she said Woody was laying at the doorway and all of a sudden he got up like a shot and started barking. And she said then gold light flooded my bedroom and my bed. And she said she was engulfed in this gold light and she said it was so nurturing. And I think it was, Goldie was checking it out because it wasn't me in that bed, it was somebody different. She was just making sure.
Yeah, we, the team heard it too. I heard the singing. The other two girls heard. Now, of course, my husband, who's a skeptic, didn't hear the singing. But all four, what, four of us, the women, all heard the singing with their own ears. And
she's not there every night. She's
maybe about 8 o'clock or so. You hear it about.
You hear it around dusk. It depends on what time of the year dusk is. But that's right, just about the time you hear it. But I most recently took a picture of her down in the workshop while I was waiting for Woody to come in, and I always have my camera with me, and I pulled out my camera. I said, I haven't taken pictures down here recently. Anybody want their picture taken? And I snapped a picture, and there she was right next to me.
Wow, that's great. You have to get all that together and get it in a book. And,
I've been keeping journals and such.
I can't wait. When we mentioned the choking incident, I actually uploaded that to the Evermore Paranormal, the Evermore Paranormal Network YouTube page. So anybody that goes to that, they can look under playlists and see the choking incident. So we are going to come back and we're going to talk about the portal in Wendy's basement or first floor, as well as the levitating clock. So we'll be right back.
My journey skating for the gold taught me a lot, but my journey with breast cancer has been one of my greatest teachers.
Every woman's breast cancer is unique. Be Wiser educates and empowers women to take control of their breast cancer treatment plan and help navigate their own path beyond 5 years.
Talk to your doctor about information and tests to personalize a treatment plan that fits your needs. I did. Be informed, be wiser, support survivors like us.
Welcome back. So you hung out until the end of the show so that you could hear about the portal in Wendy's, I call it the basement, but it's the lower level of her house. So Wendy, tell me about that portal.
Okay, we're pretty sure the portal is in my workshop, and especially if I pick up a broom and start sweeping, they're everywhere. And they come just flying out of there, and also in the rec room because that's the original wall. And I think that they're intrigued with the fact that I think those are former slaves, and I represent the boss woman, and the boss woman would have never thought of picking up a broom. So I always tell them that in this house from here on in, there is equality, that there was not equality when you were on this side. But there is now, and that if there's a broom handy and I've got a few minutes and the floors need to be swept, then I'm going to pick up a broom and do the job. I said, but if anybody feels so inclined and wants to help out, have at it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Really, but I know if I saw that broom move, I probably need a change of clothing.
Well, speaking of that.
But I often get entities, like I say, I always have a camera with me, and if I'm waiting for the dog to come in or whatever, I will get my camera and say, does anybody want their picture taken? Haven't taken pictures for a while. And I'll snap pictures. Well, one particular day not too long ago, I snapped a picture, and there was clearly an orb with a face in it, and I saw 2 eyes and a nose, big black eyes and a nose. Couldn't make out what was in the orb, but that I could make out. Next day I showed it to my tenant, and she said, oh, wow, that's the dog. That's the dog I see out in the barn all the time. That's the dog I've been telling you about for the last 2 years, the old farm dog. And I went, where do you see dog? And so the following day I showed it to my contractor friend, who was a real skeptic. And he never sees, anytime I show him pictures with the orbs, he goes, there's something wrong with your camera.
That's what my husband does.
That's what my mother says too. But anyway, I showed him this picture, and he goes, who's the dog? And I said, dog, where does anybody see dog? He says, come here in the shadows of the garage and take a look at it, and you'll see it. And I did. And I went, oh my God. I said, that's not an old farm dog. I said, that was my first dog. Her name was Tabitha. She was an old English sheepdog, Basset Hound Cross. And I said, you know, I gave the circumstances in which she passed away. She wasn't very old. I said, but she died over 40 years ago. I said, that's that dog. So when my tenant came to walk Woody that night, they go out every night for a walk, and I said, that's not an old farm dog that you've been seeing. I said, that's my first dog. And I just recently brought out the photo album. I said, would you like to see a picture of the dog that it really was? When I opened the photo album, the position she was in that orb was the position she was in my picture. Oh, perfect. And but you know, they do come in through the portal.
So Wendy, before we run out of time, I think I really want, you know, the last time I was at your house was for National Ghost Hunting Day with the team. And we filmed live and everything. And we haven't been back. And you just told me today something amazing happened. A levitating clock in your bedroom. Tell me all about it. We have just a few minutes left.
It happened 2 nights ago. And I had just come back. I've been out of the country for a week, and I just come back, and I was almost getting ready to fall asleep, and I turned over onto my side to take a look at the time on the clock. And I thought it was moving, but I wasn't sure, and I thought, well, maybe it's just the angle that I'm looking at it. So I pulled myself over so I was completely facing it, and sure enough, the clock radio was moving back and forth, and then it started raising up, and I went, no, I'm not seeing this for real. And so my bed rail, I went ahead and anchored my hand underneath the top rail so that it wouldn't move, and I would know I'm making contact with it. And sure enough, the clock raised up, touched my hand, and drifted back down. I've never had that happen before.
Okay, so how did you react to that? Because I know how I'd react. Jump up, put the lights on, scream, run out the run, wake my husband up, whatever.
I actually wasn't frightened at all. I was intrigued and just mesmerized, and I'm very comforted by the spirits in my house. There's only one, maybe 2 negative ones, and I know how to get rid of them. And they aren't there that often. The one is keeping my air conditioning costs down right now, because every time he's there, it gets ice cold. And so I thanked him the other day for keeping my electric costs down, because I don't need air conditioning. And he disappeared for a couple of days, but he's back now. And but I'm very comforted by my spirits.
I'm just curious, and just dawned on me, the clock. Do you remember what time it was, by the way?
11:57.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
Especially
because it may happen at 11:57 every night. Maybe set some cameras up. Or we'll be over there filming. You know, we want to come see that. I tell you, we've been there 3 times now, and every time something different happens.
And they love it when Evermore comes.
Yeah, and you were saying about the temperature. We've been there, I think, the second time.
Yeah.
The temperature in the living room kept dropping like 15 degrees.
Yeah, within
which
like
was
seconds.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
So, Wendy, thank you so much for coming.
You're very welcome.
And obviously, we want to hear more about any levitation that happens. Hopefully, they don't pick you up and start lifting you and stuff. I don't know. That might be where it crosses the line. But thank you for coming.
You're very welcome.
So, thank you for watching the Evermore Paranormal Network. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, peace out.
So in the end, what have I said is only that I'm sure. For all I know about this place is that I call it Evermore.